Well, what can I say today about our very special guest this morning? This legendary singer, dancer, songwriter extraordinary has transfixed the world for more than 40 years. He became an instant star at age 11 as the front man in Motown's phenomenally successful family act, the Jackson 5, one of the best-selling groups of all time, kicking off their Motown tenure in 1969 with the unprecedented feat of 4 consecutive #1 singles. Who can forget I Want You Back, ABC, Mama's Pearl, or I'll Be There? Where were you when you were having barely turned 13? He began his solo career, released a successful string of solo singles that included Got to Be There, Rockin' Robin, and Ben. We've all marveled as he continued to scale unprecedented heights with the success of 3 of the biggest selling albums of all time, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. Indeed, Thriller is the biggest selling album of all time, having sold 51 million copies worldwide. Beyond the numbers, how important and paradigm-shifting has Jackson's recording shattering record? How phenomenal has it really been? What a phenomenal feat. As producer Quincy Jones told Time magazine, black music had to play second fiddle for a long time, but his spirit is the whole motor of pop. He has connected with every soul in the world. He's been proclaimed the biggest selling artist of all time, the single most awarded entertainer the world has ever known, the most popular artist in the history of show business, and not so modestly, the world's most famous man, and of course, the king of pop. I could, and the world still goes on about this genius, about this icon for the ages. Brothers and sisters, members of the Keep Up Alive family, today we have the rare opportunity to take a journey from Gary to greatness and hear the king of pop share the story of his life as only he can tell it. It's with great pride and pleasure that I bring to you this morning Michael Jackson from California. Good morning, Michael.
First of all, if if you want somebody to do a speech for you, give it to Jesse Jackson. That dude knows how to do an intro like no other. You hear me? Hot damn. From Gary to greatness. Like, yo, that dude know how to do a speech, don't he? And the fact that they're doing this on Easter Sunday. Yo, Jesse, like, he was able to get Michael on Easter Sunday to go on there. That's crazy. All right, let's go.
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
Good. Good to hear you. There are many listening ears around America and the world for our conversation today. Well, good. Well, my friends, let's get this conversation started as we have a shared conversation with our nation. Stay right there. You don't want to miss this live conversation. The king of pop, Michael Jackson. We'll be right back with Keep Up Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Visit us online at keephopealiveradio.com.
Welcome to Keep Up Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson, our regular Sunday morning talk show. Today we have a phenomenal guest in Michael Jackson. Michael has taken this phenomenal journey from ground zero to outer space. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
Good. Remember we met on 47th Street way many years ago. Your father brought you and the guys by the office in your station wagon and U-Haul. You were performing at the Regal Theater. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember. It was a long time ago. I was just very little.
What do you remember about that period?
Oh, I remember what we were wearing, kind of like dashikis and bell-bottom pants. And I just remember the love from the public was very great in accepting what we had to offer. And the support from, the people at that time was just beautiful. The black people was fantastic. You were always very kind to us as well.
Good. Did your mom make those outfits?
Yes, she did. She always made all of our clothes. My mother would sew and stitch everything. Everything we wore before really making it at Motown.
I remember so well that Junius Griffin came up with your dad and asked, could you guys be a warm-up act at Expo, and we had to make room for you in our schedule. Then you guys stole the show.
Oh, I remember those shows.
And then
you had a big afro at the time.
Don't remind people of that, Michael. You did so very well. But during that time, you were just getting hooked up with Motown. Who discovered you for Motown?
Well, in complete truth, it was Gladys Knight and a guy named Bobby Taylor. And they were on the bill of some of the shows we were doing. They used to be like, you would do a show and there would be 20 to 30 acts. It was very much like vaudeville. You would do just a certain amount of songs and you would go off. And they were always on these shows and they would watch us. And they were so impressed with what we were doing. And Berry Gordy wasn't interested at first, but eventually he loved us and wanted to sign us. And after being signed, since Diana Ross was their biggest star at the time, they used her as the vehicle to introduce us to the public. The first album was called Diana Ross Present the Jackson 5.
At that time,
That really is crazy. Like, Diana Ross ain't had nothing to do with it. Like, afterward, once they got signed, then she let them in to her home and everything. But the fact that it's such a business, it's so much entertaining. Like, we don't never hear about Gladys Knight being the one that actually discovered Michael. That's so crazy. Gladys Knight is one of the biggest icons in music. We don't never hear that discussion about Gladys Knight discovering the Jackson 5 or the Jacksons. Like, that's crazy to me. That's so funny.
your favorite artist?
Oh, God, I love Diana Ross, and I love James Brown, and I still do. I love all these artists still to this day. I love Jackie Wilson, the real showstoppers, the real entertainers.
Did you get
Sammy Davis Jr., I loved him as well.
Did you get any interview moves from Jackie Wilson?
Oh, yes, of course. All of these artists inspired me very much. I couldn't help from being inspired by these great entertainers.
A little later, remember we were out in Los Angeles, and at that time, Suzanne DePass was the godmother for the group, and she had you and Fred Siegel shopping for some jeans.
Yes. You remember Suzanne DePass? She was so wonderful. She was pretty much our manager with my father at the time. And Tony Jones. They were all wonderful people, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart,
She was such a wonderful person, and she remains. She's so top-notch in that what she does.
Yes, she is. She was very helpful and instrumental in the early days with our career, and she remains a friend. And I do miss her. I haven't seen her in a while, but she's a wonderful person. So is Berry Gordy.
Michael, in this whole developmental period, I would call it ground zero, like Gary and the Regal Theater and the Expo and the early meeting of Berry Gordy and Motown. As you reflect, what is this period? What about it do you remember the most?
Which period is this now?
This kind of Gary to the Regal Theater to Expo to meeting Gladys Knight to going to Motown. What about this period that stands out the most in your mind?
This period, for me, what stands out is, because I was so young I was like around 8 or 9. I just remember the environment, what it was like, all the music I was hearing, because my father played guitar, my uncle played guitar, and every day they would come over and they would start, playing great music, and we would start to perform to the music. And I remember seeing marching bands go down the street, and I remember the rhythm of the band and the beats of the drum, and every sound around me I seemed to record in my head and start making rhythms and dancing. And I used to dance to the rhythm of the washing machine. If my mother went to the corner store to wash the clothes, I would dance to the rhythm, and people would crowd around. I remember those kind of stories. They would crowd around pretty much and watch me. Those kind of little things. It's just reflections, really.
Well, you remember you said that Jackie Wilson and James Brown and Sammy Davis were heroes. Did you ever see them perform?
Yes, of course I did, and they were friends of mine, all these great artists. That's where I was so lucky, because I was just a little kid looking up to these people. We were real catatonic, awestruck with their talent. And not only did I get to see it, but I got to see it close up, right on the side of the curtain, on the side of the wings. And I got to know these great artists. These were the best entertainers in the world. They were showstoppers. And I would have to go on stage sometime after them, So it was amazing.
But the thing is that at first, I remember Tito and Jermaine, you were like so little and so small. You were just a part of the Jackson 5. At what point did you realize that you were a showstopper?
When you have a special ability, you don't realize it because you think everybody else has the same gift that you have, so you don't realize it. When I used to sing at such a young age, people were so inspired by my singing, and they loved it, and I didn't realize why they were clapping or crying or or start to scream. I really, truly didn't, Jesse. And I think it was just later on in life when people would come to me and say, you know, do you realize you have a special gift or you have a special talent? And I just remember from my mother, who's very religious, always telling us to always thank God, thank Jehovah God for your talent, your ability. You know, it's not our doing, it's from above. So we were always humbled by people who would come with accolades or, you know, adulation, whatever it is, you know, and it was a beautiful thing.
When did you stop going to school formally?
Oh, that was very young. I think it was, oh boy. I think probably the fifth grade, fourth or fifth, I think. And then I had tutoring the rest of my life because we did so many tours and concerts and TV shows and then all the albums and the recordings because we would have 3 hours of schooling, then we would do the concerts, and then we would travel to another state or another country. And then by that time, you know, we'd do some concerts again. Then it would be time to record the next J5 album. Then after the J5 album, it's time for another Michael Jackson album. So I was in my youth, as a little kid, I was always busy. I remember across the street from Motown recording studio, there was a park. And I used to hear the roar of the kids and the throwing of the football and the basketball. And I remember going to the studio every day, and I would feel kind of sad because I wanted to go to that park. But I knew I had a different job to do, you know, so we'd go in and make the records all day until late at night. Then you go to sleep and you're up for the next day, just the same regimentation.
But to that extent, you missed a certain body of childhood experience. How did you compensate for this loss of ordinary childhood experience?
Well, it's true, I didn't have a childhood, but when you don't have a childhood, like people like myself and other child stars, I would think you try to compensate for the loss. So later on, you try to catch up, and that's why you may see a theme park or amusement rides or that kind of environment at my home. But I like to do it to help other children who are less fortunate than I am. You know, kids who are terminally ill, kids with diseases, poor children from the inner cities, you know, the ghettos, to let them see the mountains or to go on the rides or to watch a movie or to have some ice cream or something.
The other thing, of course,
I really want that's probably one of the biggest what ifs ever is if he was able to tour and do out, like I was looking it up just the other day because I'm working on doing something in terms of the Jackson 5 discography. And I'm like, hot damn, they did like an album every 6 months or so. Like they always was dropping new music every year. Like when I say every year they were dropping new albums, new music every 6 months to a year. And this was going on, like 69 to 74, 5 years straight. And we're talking, that's when Michael was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So he really literally had no time to do anything else. I really wonder what if he was able to do the work, do the studio time, drop the albums, go on tour, but was still able to be in school, how different his music would have turned out, how different he would have turned out, how different things would have turned out, how he just was given a chance to somewhat have a childhood, like even if it wasn't going to school, at least playing in the park, having friends over, like his friends was his brothers. He had no one else. So I really wonder how different things would have turned out had he just had that part of him. Was it that essential that he might not become the star that he became? Does he not care for children the way he did? If it wasn't for that, who knows? That's probably one of the biggest what ifs when it comes to like music and things of that nature. How much of him not having a childhood shaped his overall artistry and what he was able to do. We'll never know, but that's a big what if.
What's different about you, Michael, you did have a family. How many was in the family?
The immediate Jackson family?
Yeah.
It was originally 10 of us. There's 9. There's 9. And my mother, Catherine and Joseph Jackson, are still alive, and we were all born in Gary, Indiana.
Well, in that setting, did Tito and Jermaine beat up on you and give you some normal childhood experience of being a little brother?
Yeah, well, being on tour, like we would go to Miami and we would be able to use the beaches but we were so popular at the time. Wherever the Jackson 5 would go, there would be mob scenes. We couldn't go in a shopping center or anywhere. It'd be just kids screaming, and so we had hit records back to back to back. We were playing these sellouts, big arenas across America. And so it was difficult. So we did have a chance to have some fun, but in the hotel. There would be a pillow fight in the hotel, or if we wanted to swim after hours, we would swim in the pool downstairs, that type of thing.
Who would win the pillow fights?
Pretty much Tito or Jackie. They were the oldest.
Given all that you've kind of gone through in this kind of phenomenal rise, the artists who've sold the most records in history, as you look back from that period, who we might call ground zero, to the period of your maturing and writing, who was your greatest influence in learning to write? You write so well.
I don't think that question has ever really been asked to him. I think people ask him how he writes. Where does his writing come from? He says it comes from the sources, when he's in the tree, whatever. I don't think anybody's asked him who has influenced him in terms of his writing style. That I don't think has ever been asked of him. Jesse Jackson, come on now. Let's go.
Greatest influence in learning to write music, I think this is where I was lucky. Because in my opinion, I came into the factory of the greatest songwriters at that time and in the 60s. Holland Dozier Holland of Motown. These three guys were phenomenal. Lamont Dozier, Eddie Holland. I mean, these guys were amazing. They wrote all the great Supreme hits and the Four Top hits. They just were amazing. And I got to learn and work with these guys. And I love some of the Beatles stuff. And I love the Beatles music, actually. And I love a lot of the show tune writers, Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein and Lerner and Lowe and Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer and, these kind of show tune. Because I love melody. I love the great Irish pub songs. I love English melody. But and the rhythms of Africa, which are the roots of rhythm, that's my favorite music. Because I think that's the favorite music of the world. Because all music is derived from that. I mean, Africa is music. It is the origin. It is the dawn of existence. And so you can't avoid that. So that's in everything that's been influenced, by myself.
But as you went through these stages and you began to write and sing and dance, did you have like a dancing coach?
No, I never studied dancing before. It always came natural for me. Whenever I was little, any music was starting, they couldn't set me down. They couldn't tie me down, actually. And even to this day, if somebody plays a beat, I'll start kicking in, making counter rhythms to the beat I'm hearing. It's just a natural instinct. And I've never studied. And Fred Astaire, who was a good friend of mine, and Gene Kelly, I used to always marvel at my ability for dance. And when I was a little kid, Fred Astaire used to always tell me how he felt in his heart that I was going to be a very special star. And I used to just look at him thinking, what are you talking about? But he could see,
Michael, where did the moonwalk come from?
Again, what a great question of, did you have like a dancing coach, someone that kind of gave you your, kind of like your style or like how you would eventually perform? Like, what a great question. Yeah, so, I think the what's so crazy about Michael is he could watch something and without even really rehearsing it, he could do it. Like he had gifts. And so like Michael could watch something on TV and mimic it in the living room, or watch something like when I think they said it in Captain EO. Captain EO, where they was doing the choreography and he looked at it from the side, not even from the front. He looked at it from the side one time and he said, okay. And then he just started doing the choreography for Captain EO. Like, yo, this dude is just another level, bro. And the fact that, what do you think he said, was it Gene Kelly or Fred Astaire, one of the two, told him at a young age that he was going to be something special, that's a compliment. Like, see, like, bruh, That is crazy. Like warriors know other warriors. Like geniuses know other geniuses. They can see from it. Like, oh yeah, that yeah, Michael, he about to be something. Like it's just what a great question.
The moonwalk is a dance that I would love to take credit for, but I can't because I have to be completely honest here. These black children in the ghettos they have the most phenomenal rhythm of anybody on the earth. I'm not joking. Yeah. I get a lot of ideas from watching black children, and they have perfect rhythm. So just riding through Harlem, I remember in the early, late 70s, the early 80s, I would see these kids dancing on the street, and I saw a kid doing this kind of sliding backwards, kind of illusion dancing, I call it. And I took a mental picture of it, a mental movie of it, and I went into my room upstairs in Encino, and I started to just do it and dance and create and perfect it. But it definitely started within black culture, no doubt. And that's where it comes from.
And that's so crazy to me, again, going back to nobody taught him how to do it. He just saw it on a random street corner. That's what's... It's like there's so many, just like I talked about this a while ago. I talked about this a long time ago with my homie Sasha about writing. Right, I remember being like at work and just getting just ideas, just flying in my head, and you just make a mental note, try to write it down the way you can. Like when you're a writer or someone that's an artist, how. Like when you ask them, where did your ideas come from? Where did your writing come from? It just comes from God. Like I don't, like that really is. Like I hear something, and I'm like, oh, I like that line. Like I just did what was the video I did? I did a video just not too long ago. I heard a line. I said, oh, let me write that down. I like that line. Like it just something that just connects with you. So the fact that this dude was on a random street corner, saw some black kids dancing, saw the moonwalk, it was like, I like that. And he basically taught himself how to do it, and then perfected it with the neck, like insane. And just to think, like if he didn't have the moonwalk, like if he never did the moonwalk, like how different would his career turn out? Like the moonwalk is like the most infamous thing about him more than anything else. Like what happens if he never sees that? Like does he choose a different move? Like, what does he do? Like, it's just, they're so infamous connected to him, to his legacy, to his legend, because the moonwalk is such a awe-inspiring, out-of-this-world move that not everyone can do it. It looks like an illusion. It looks like magic, which, what is so Michael? It looks like magic. So the fact that he's going backwards while going forwards at the same time, it's kind of like, what? Yeah, that's crazy that he just randomly driving through Harlem and saw some kids on the corner. That's so dope. Again, that also goes to show, what was this? You said like late 90s, early 80s? How important, I don't even know, it's just how important kids being able to express themselves, how important that is, right? Being able to be on the street corner and just have an environment that allows you to be yourself and allows you to give your artistry, like to be on the street corner, like doing that. Like I wish I could see that. Like I hope they show that in the Michael movie. They gotta show that. You have to show him in the limo or in the car seeing these kids do these moves and be like, they gotta show that, bro. You gotta show that.
And kind of connected to that piece of it while you were dancing. Did you watch Don Canese and Soul Train?
Oh, I love that show. Are you kidding? Of course I did. I would wait for the Soul Train line. They would have a line they would make about like a wall of people, and the dancer would come through the middle, dancing to the song, and that would give them a chance to showcase their talent and what they can do with their body creatively. I used to watch that catatonically, just watching that. I was mesmerized by studying the rhythms and the dancing, of course. Of course I watched it.
Michael, as you look back, you've kind of made this kind of transition from Ground Zero and Gary, and you began to ascend. Then you became a man in many ways in a child's body. I mean, you never gained any weight. How did you manage?
Well, I've never been a great eater. To tell a little secret. I hate to tell it, but I've never been a great eater or a great admirer of food, even though I appreciate food and the gift of food and how God has given us food to eat. But my mother has always had a hard time with me all my life, forcing me to eat. Elizabeth Taylor used to hand feed me at times, because I do have a problem with eating, but I do my very best, and I am eating. Yes, I am. So I don't, please, I don't want anybody to think I'm starving. I'm not.
But
my health is perfect, actually.
That is insane as someone who wasn't someone that liked it. I don't know how, for someone that, food is energy. You need food, not only to sustain, but you also need food for energy. How was he on stage all those years, who's someone who's known not to like to eat? How was he able to do all those tours, all those shows, and stay his physical self? Someone who I don't think really went to the gym a lot. I don't think he was someone that really went to the gym. So not only he's not going to the gym, he's not really eating like that. How he's able to do all those shows the way he did is remarkable. Like, it also kind of shows, like, Michael, you should have been eating, my brother. Like, I know it doesn't help with certain ailments he had, lupus, vitiligo, but, like, still, like, and also the fire, the Pepsi incident, I think was really what the downfall was in terms of a lot of things. But still, like, man, Michael, like, it's so, like, it annoys me sometimes, like, Michael, please eat something, dog. Like, because you just know he's just going off fumes. And the fact that he was able to do what he did without having a body that's fully nourished. He says, oh, my body's fine. It's like, okay, Mike. It's still amazing to me as well. Like, that's crazy.
This weight, man, that's what people are most jealous of and excited about.
No, my health is perfect, actually. I'm a great believer in holistic, natural foods and eating, and where I eat, and herbs and things. God's medicine instead of Western chemicals, not those things,
Michael, as you look back over this phenomenal career, you remember at least the 5th grade in Gary and how you guys became a big hit so quickly. What do you remember? What is to you the high point? I've asked people all week long the high point for them. It may have been Thriller, it may have been Beat It, it may have been some performance. What for you represents a kind of a high point?
Well, one of the great high points, I would have to say, because I remember before 82, like early 80s, I had done an album called Off the Wall, and Off the Wall, it was an important point for me because
I did an album called Off the Wall. That is so funny the way he phrased that. Like, some of us wouldn't know. Like, I did this album. I don't know if you heard of it, called Off the Wall. Like, the way he just phrased that, I was like, Michael, you do know, like, you sold like what, 20, 30 million from Off the Wall. I think we know the Off the Wall, but it's just so funny the way he phrased that. But I think I know what he's about to say here. But let me just run it back just a little bit, and I feel like what he's about to say. And then I'm gonna give my answer what I think his high point is, but we'll continue.
It may have been Thriller, it may have been Beat It, it may have been some performance. What for you represents a kind of a high point?
Well, one of the great high points, I would have to say, because I remember before 82, like early 80s, I had done an album called Off the Wall, and Off the Wall, it was an important point for me because I had just done the movie The Wiz, and I wanted to express myself as a writer, as an artist, to write my own music, to do the music, to pretty much put it together. And Quincy Jones, who I loved, I was fortunate enough to work with him, and I love this man, and he's very gifted. But I was writing these songs at the time, like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Shake Your Body Down to the Ground, Billie Jean and Beat It. All these songs were written at this time. So I pretty much was setting mental goals of what I want to do as an artist. And that was a high point for me during the winning of the Grammys for the Off the Wall album. But I wasn't happy because I wanted to do much more than that. And I wasn't happy with, the way it was accepted, even though it was a huge success. It was the biggest selling album for the solo artist at that time. It was over 10 million. And for black solo artists. And I said the next album, I refused for them to ignore. And that's when I set my heart on writing the Thriller album. And I said...
You really, what gave rise to the Thriller?
Pardon?
What gave rise to the Thriller?
What gave rise to Thriller was at the time I was pretty much disappointed and hurt. I lived in an area called Encino, and I used to see signs of graffiti saying disco sucks, disco is this, and disco is that. And disco was just a happy medium of making people dance at the time. But it was so popular that the society was turning against it. I said, I'm just going to do a great album, because I love the album that Tchaikovsky did, Nutcracker Suite. It's an album where every song is like a great song. I said, I want to do an album where every song is like a hit record. And that's what pretty much hit Thriller was spawned from that. And I did that album, and it made all-time history. The Guinness Book of World Record proclaimed it as the largest-selling album of all time, and it is still to this day. And I would say that was a pinnacle. That was I reached a certain zenith point, I would think, but I still wasn't pleased after that. I was always wanting to do more, wanting to do more.
So what I find so funny is, like, disco, I think, reached a breaking point to where it was becoming too popular, and the fact that I think my homie Layla, we had a conversation about this. She pointed out how he ended the album with "Burn This Disco Out." It's like, it's so fitting. Like, he was kind of alarmed. I think he might have been subconsciously. He was kind of sounding the alarms of, okay, this is going to be the end of the disco era. It's time for something new, something fresh, because Thriller doesn't sound like disco at all. Like, what makes Thriller is because it doesn't have an actual genre. Like, it's R&B, it's soul, it's also pop, but it's also rock. Like, it's these different elements of sound, so where you can't fit in a box what Thriller is really. Like, how do you define what "Wanna Stop Till You Get Enough"? Like, "Don't Stop Till You," "Wanna Be Starting Something." Like, how do you categorize that song? What category would that be in? It's just certain things. Billie Jean. What would you categorize Billie Jean as? Like, you're making songs that don't fit in a box. So I found it to be intriguing. But I think his peak is hard to answer. I think you have to talk about it in this totality. I think the peak for me is, it has to go from the Billie Jean performance at Motown 25 to him selling the most records of all time with Thriller. And then the crescendo is the Grammy Awards, having the record for the Grammy Awards. And then the end, I think, to where, for me, I think his ultimate peak was the Victory Tour. I know a lot of people that love the Bad Tour the most, Dangerous Tour, even History Tour. To me personally, I think it was poetic, even though I still wish he would have did a solo tour. But I think it was poetic, the Victory Tour, where he got to perform off the wall in mostly Thriller and his brother's songs. Like a cast, like it was kind of like a tribute to his career in a sense. On the Victory Tour, the highest selling album, I get to perform those songs, but also perform the highest selling hits that me and my brothers did at the same time for the last time. I think really it's the Victory Tour. I think it's peak, like his, in terms of his stardom, not stardom, but in terms of his of everything. Because once after Victory Tour, it's kind of when everything, in terms of perception and media, and I think how it, even I was about to say musically. I can't say musically, but I just feel like it took a turn. I'll say that. I won't say that he went downhill, but everything took a turn after the Victory Tour. After Thriller, that's when everything took a turn. Everything. Anything you could think of, it took a turn. So I think the height, for me, his peak is Victory Tour. After winning the Grammys, after winning most selling album of all time, get to perform with your brothers for one final time. Like, I think the peak for me is Victory Tour for him.
And the Victory Tour came along.
At some point, you reached out before we get to the Victory Tour, and we had this phenomenal crisis of people dying, and you used your celebrity to pull the artists together to do "We Are the World."
Yes.
What was that like?
"We Are the World" was a great project because Quincy Jones called me on the phone and he asked me to write a song for for the devastation that's going on in Africa, and Ethiopia was hit very badly. And he knew my love for the people over there, because I go to Africa all the time. I love the culture. I love the people. I love what they represent. And so I put this song together. He said, let Lionel Richie help you. So Lionel came over. We started, putting ideas together. And we talked most of the time because we pretty much caught up with old times, because I've been knowing Lionel Richie for many, many years. And so Lionel and I put something together, but I wasn't happy with it completely. So after that, I just went in the studio myself and pretty much completed it and finished it and packaged it and did all the music and put everything together and turned it in. And Quincy was very impressed with it, and he said, this is the song, we're going to go with it. And we put the song out. It became the biggest selling single in history. And it raised a lot of money. It was called USA for Africa. And we heightened public awareness on the subject. It was Relief for Africa. It was a beautiful thing. We gave a certain percentage to America, but the majority share went to Africa. It was a great, great thing.
Michael, I'm going to take a little break right now and come back and talk about the Victory Tour.
Okay.
And the Push Expo film, Save the Children, and what your present challenges are, okay?
Okay.
You'll be right.
Yeah, We Are the World is probably, you can argue, the greatest song of all time. Like, it's hard. Like, you have watching the We Are the World documentary on Netflix, which you can go on my Patreon and watch that. I think I have some on YouTube, my reaction to it. Watching whoever, I forget who, it wasn't Quincy. Quincy hired a producer to basically do the arrangement of who is going to sing what where. Seeing that, it was like like watching a math professor do like an equation, or like to try to figure out what voice goes with what voice, and what, like, just seeing that is insane. I don't think nothing like that will ever be done again. You have all-time greats like Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Tina Turner, of course, Lionel Richie, Harry Belafonte, just the array of Dionne Warwick, just an array of just all-time talent. I think, Paul Simon. I'm trying to remember everybody now. Like Paul Simon, Bruce Springsteen, Steve Perry. Like, really think about Hall. I think, was it Hall from Hall Notes? I think it was Hall from Hall Notes. Daryl Hall, like, just all time great artists. Cyndi Lauper, like, just at the peak of her stardom, like, just these all time great artists, and he was able to arrange a song one night. Well, you got one night to do it. One night. And they was able to pull off one of the greatest songs, possibly the greatest song of all time in We Are the World. Like, I just cannot get over that freaking, how they made it be brought together. And the fact that Prince was supposed to be part of that too, and he decided to be antisocial that day, or probably just, he wanted, Prince is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Prince likes to do his own thing. Let's just say that. So probably a combination of being antisocial, along with him wanting to do his own thing and not really be produced, because Prince is someone that does all his own music. He doesn't work with really other producers. He does all his own music. So to be in a room full of all these people and being kind of produced is probably like, I don't really want to do that. But yeah, that's so funny to me.
Visit us.
Ramon, will you get us a copy?
Yes.
Welcome back, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Keep Hope Alive. A very special edition today with Michael Jackson. People are listening all around the nation, all around the world. Just a kind of family talk with Michael. I've known him since he was like 7 years old, but the entire family. At some point in time, his father driving a station wagon with a U-Haul brought the guys by our office one day and asked if they'd be a warm-up act for Expo. And, of course, they were a warm-up act, but in fact, they set it on fire. And the Expo was never quite the same again. Matter of fact, Michael, we did the film Save the Children. That was a big hit, too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I remember those times. It's a little cloudy, but I do remember it, Jesse, and I remember how wonderful you were to us, and I remember the love from the audience, and I could hear the screaming of the crowd, and I could see all the afros and the dashikis, and it was just a wonderful time. It was for a wonderful cause.
On that show was Marvin Gaye and Roberta Flack and the OJs and the Staples Singers and Cannonball Adderley. It was a huge deal.
That's amazing, amazing list of people. That's some of the greatest talent ever. That's amazing.
We're going to re-release Save the Children sometime pretty soon, and people who missed that period will really enjoy watching it.
Yep, if you haven't, go check out. I think it's fully on YouTube, my reaction. Spoiler alert, there's a good chance it won't be up there too long. But while it's up there, I'm willing to take the hit because, you know, when your video gets taken down, you get a strike, but whatever. I'm willing to take the hit to make sure that people can see that film. Like, so I'll take the hit for that. I don't even care. Whenever it comes. But yeah, the Save the Children is probably the greatest lineup of artists ever. Like he said, I think you had the Temptations, you had Quincy Jones do his own thing, like so many, Bill Withers, Isaac Hayes, like the greatest of great artists. Like what? Like what? Gladys Knight and the Pips. Like Gladys Knight and the Pips. Speaking of Gladys Knight, Gladys Knight, I'm gonna have to chop up that concert, because seeing Gladys Knight kind of do like crowd work and like perform was super duper dope to watch, because a lot of those artists I don't really watch a lot, so to kind of see them in their prime was very dope. To see Roberta Flack, I know since she passed a year ago, I just started like really watching her her artistry, her singing, like, oh my God, just crazy. Like Save the Children, bro. One of the greatest concerts. Shout out to Jesse Jackson. I think he was the leader in all that, of bringing people together. I think this was 74? No, 70 is, I think it keeps going back and forth between 72 or 73. It was either 72 or 73 when that concert went down. It was like a 5-day event. But yeah, Michael is not lying about when Don Cornelius introduced the Jacksons to the stage, you can see the kids, all these young black kids, and just the joy in their face when they see them and just rush to the stage is like one of the greatest things I've ever seen, dog.
We think about the kind of rise from here when you were but a child, and then you went through your teenage years being tooted along. But then I remember another phase, I think is another phase, when the Victory Tour occurred. At that time, you were a full-grown. All of your brothers and sisters were full-grown. And we met in Kansas City. Remember with your family?
Yeah.
And we all had prayer together.
Yes, we did.
The Victory Tour, describe that season.
The Victory Tour was one of the great pinnacles of my success, because Thriller had won more Grammys than any other album in the history of music. And it created so much phenomenon and such adulation and notoriety on a universal level that it was very, very hard to go anywhere, do anything without press and helicopters and people sleeping in your bushes and hiding in your trees. And it was just a phenomenal pinnacle. It really was. And then after all of that, I announced that I was going to tour and to perform those songs live in front of an audience. So the world was just going really, really wild at that time. And we did this tour that broke records all over America. We played stadiums. For instance, the setting record at Dodger Stadium before we played it was 1 show and a half by Elton John. We did 8 shows there, sold out, and they wanted another 2. So we did 8 sold-out shows there. But this happened all over America. The first city was Kansas City, and that's where we met with you, Jesse. And I remember you coming to the suite, and you gave prayer, and it was a beautiful thing. And it was just an amazing time. It really was. my dreams had come true.
Good. But you know, Michael, in this life, it is said some rain must fall, and you had these seasons of just tailwinds, like pushing you forward. But life is of such, it's not a straight line. Some argue you're either in a storm or you're just leaving a storm and going to a storm. And it's not difficult to handle these sunshine, bright skies, tailwind days, but then these headwinds come that kind of test what you really are made of. It kind of tests your mettle, your true grit.
Right.
And so you've had these high points. What do you consider to be the low point?
Probably the low point, the lowest point emotionally and experience probably what I'm going through.
in the sense, what about it has just kind of stung you?
What about it that what?
That stung you, so to speak.
Use the word again.
Stung. I mean, it's kind of hurt you. You said it's low point.
Yeah, just the pain of what I'm going through, to be accused of something where I know in my heart and in my experiences in life I'm totally innocent. And it's just very painful. But this has been kind of a pattern among black luminaries in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And so since you're going through this and you feel the pain and you think it's a kind of pattern, how are you handling it spiritually? Because you go from being held so high and now your very character, your integrity is under attack. How are you handling it?
Yeah, that's because this is March 27th, 2005. So this is before, I don't know how long the trial is. I know the trial ended in June 13th of this year, but I don't know like when it officially started. So we're kind of like right before the trial starts with him, with the accusations and everything. And yeah, Michael was never the same after this. Like once it happened, once it was over, he was never the same. Like just his world changed. I don't think he ever performed again. Yeah, until he started doing This Is It, the rehearsals. I can't remember him performing. I know he walked out on the World Music Awards, but that was just backtrack. That wasn't even him really performing. So yeah, I don't think he performed again after this too. So just his world changed after this trial. Even though he was found innocent, that's the crazy thing. He was found innocent and still like, I just can't believe they put me through this. Like knowing that I was innocent, but they wanted me to be guilty so bad because I'm the highest selling artist of all time, and I'm a black man from Gary, Indiana, and they wanted to put me on a cross. They really wanted to put me on a cross. Like I'll never forget the media doing a whole when he goes to jail. This is where we're going to put him. Yep, he ain't gonna be no moonwalking around here. Like that's so racist coded. They're not saying that, but it's so racist coded. And this Nancy Grace and all them, they wanted that man on a stake so bad. They really wanted that. And it's not even like they even believed he was guilty. It's just for ratings. They really wanted that. So it's just, around this period, I could definitely see being the lowest period for him. It's just a shame that he has to go through that. And many of our artists have gone through that.
I'm handling it by using other people in the past who have gone through this sort of thing. Mandela's story has given me a lot of strength, what he's gone through. The Jack Johnson story, which was on PBS, is on DVD now. It's called Unforgivable Blackness. It's an amazing story about this man from 1910 who was the heavyweight champion of the world and thrust into a society that didn't want to accept his position and his lifestyle and what they put him through and how they changed laws to imprison the man, to put him away behind bars just to get him some kind of way. And Muhammad Ali's story, all these great, Jesse Owens' story, all these stories that I can go back in history and read about give me strength, Jesse. Your story gives me strength, what you went through. Because I came in at the tail end of the civil rights movement. I didn't get to really, I'm a 70s child, really. But I got at the tail end of the civil rights movement. I got to see it, you know?
And so you've had these hits. And people that you have embraced are now facing you in court on a daily basis. How does your spirit handle that?
I gained strength from God. I believe in Jehovah God very much, and I gained strength from the fact that I know I'm innocent. None of these stories are true. They're totally fabricated, and it's very sad, and it's very, very painful. And I pray a lot, and that's how I deal with it. And I'm a strong person. I'm a warrior, and I know what's inside of me. I'm a fighter. But it's very painful. At the end of the day, I'm still human. You know, I'm still a human being. So it does hurt very, very, very much.
You know, I watched it last week. You and I were talking on the phone, and there was this rhythm of the trial, which we will not get into at all today. But then they shifted from the focus of the trial to saying you are broke. And last week, people were calling in all around the nation saying, "Is Michael broke? Michael, are you broke?"
That's not true at all. It's just one of their many schemes to embarrass me and to just drag me through mud. And it's the same pattern like I told you with these other people in the past. It's the same pattern. So don't believe any of this, you know, this is tabloid, sensationalized kind of gossip.
Well, how did the money issue get in the first place? A number of people called saying they thought it was about the Sony catalog. What's in that catalog?
In my Sony catalog is all the Beatles music, all of, you know, Little Richard's music. I own Sly and the Family Stone. I own such a volume of so many. I own Elvis, so many Elvis songs, and it's a huge catalog. It's very valuable. It's worth a lot of money, and there is a big fight going on right now as we speak about that. Now, I can't say whether or not. I can't comment on it. There's a lot of conspiracy. I'll say there's a lot of conspiracy going on as we speak.
All I'm going to say is, in the words of Lester Oates, was it Lester Oates? I think it was Lester Oates. From The Wire, Lester, always follow the money. Always follow the money. You want to know what's really going on? Follow the money. Look what happened to Michael's catalog after he passed. Look at the emails. All you got to do is look it up about what happened. Michael's body wasn't even cold yet. And the people at ABG and everyone was already trying to figure out, okay, we're going to make money off of this is it, and we're going to do this, we're going to sell this, we're going to always follow the money. I ain't going to say, we know what happened to Michael. We know what really happened. Like, we know. Like, we know. I can't, we know. Like, it wasn't no accident. We know. They took our boy out. They took him out. Always follow the money. That's all I'm going to say. Follow the money.
Well, it was suggested by a number of your friends and family members that this fight really is more about this catalog issue than it is anything else. Do you believe that?
Well, you know, I don't want to comment. I don't want to make a comment, Jesse. It's a real delicate issue, and I'll let you make the comment on that one.
Let me shift this to the extent. Since so many people are listening and there have been so many opinions, I was in London a couple of weeks ago, and 24/7 was Michael Jackson all day and all night long. And the day that you came to the hospital late, and you said you were injured, what happened that day?
I was coming out of the shower, and I fell. And all my body weight, I mean, I'm pretty fragile. All my body weight fell against my rib cage. And I pretty much, I bruised my lung very badly. My lung on the right is very much I'm in pain as we speak. And I've been going to court every day in immense pain, in agonizing pain. And I sit there and I'm strong. I try to be as strong as I can. So I can, but what we're looking for is the coughing of blood now, because the doctor said it could be he said it's still very dangerous as we speak. And if I cough the blood, he said it's a very dangerous thing. So we're still watching it very closely.
Wow, so he's already been going to court. Okay, because we've seen the video of him having to basically be carried in and out of the building during his time. So he already was in court. So I'm actually shocked that his lawyers allowed him to do this interview. But if there was anybody that was going to protect him, it was going to be Jesse. You got. That's why Jesse was like, "We're not gonna talk about the trial at all. Don't even worry about that." But okay, so he's already in court during the time. So okay, so how long was the goddamn trial for? How long was Michael Jackson? Well, he was in. How long was the MJ trial? Like, when was it from what to what? No, MJ, not OJ, dummy. Hold on, see. Because someone who I don't remember actually ever in real time watching the trial to the verdict, so I can't recall. So it was about 4 months. Okay, so it started actually February 28th, which will be, already happened. That was a couple days ago. So, no, it'll be a couple days from now. They'll be officially 21 years. So from February 28th to June 13th. So, yeah, that was a long trial. Interesting to have a long trial when you had no evidence, by the way. A long trial of non-evidence. Yeah. But anyway.
Cynic said you were faking, and it seemed that the judge at first was not willing even to believe you, even though you had just left the hospital.
Yeah, no, there's no faking with this at all. I mean, there was a scan done, and you could see the swelling on my whole rib cage. I mean, it was you could see it, and it's bright red, and how it busted my chin, and it put a huge gash over my forehead. Blood. It was very bad actually, and but we're treating it. Actually, we're treating it. I do have medicine for it, but we're watching it very closely.
As I'm listening to you talk about this whole ordeal you've gone through and how you've stood strong, sometimes amazingly so. At some point last week, you cried. What touched you? What made you break down, as it were?
You mean at court?
Yeah.
I was in pain. I was sitting there hurting, and the pain was so immense. All I could do was just sit there and cry because it was so intense at that moment. I just couldn't handle it, so I just grabbed tissue and just put it, to my face.
So it was more about your personal pain than the challenges from the stand.
No, it had nothing to do with what was going on inside. It was total with personal pain, physical pain.
Michael, since so many people are listening, I'm trying to glean from some of our calls on the phone today and from last week. As people listen to you, and what do you want people to know? Those who listen to you today on the phones, hear calls from Philadelphia and from Holland and from Britain and New York and Mississippi and Florida, California. What do you want people to know? About you, about where you are now in the head, how you're feeling?
Well, pretty much to be strong for me, to pray for my children and my family and myself. This is a very difficult time, and to not believe what they hear and see and read just because it's in print does not make it. Just because it's in print does not make it the gospel. And because they're sensationalizing this thing to an immense degree. It's a feeding frenzy. It's because of my celebrity. The bigger the celebrity, the bigger the target, and they have to remember that. So they've turned this into money. It's like who get the biggest rating, who get the, it's terrible what's happened with it. But it's part of what I have to suffer as a celebrity. It's part of what I have to go through. And to just know in the end I'll be vindicated. I pray because I know the truth. I'm an innocent person, and I believe in God and love God, and just continue to pray for us.
You know that given your faith in God and in yourself and your declaration of innocence, and while you're going through the storm, presuming that you win this has been a close battle, a very tense battle, because the battle is not over. The appearance, given your relationship, has called for lots of consternation. Is there anything that you will do differently when this season is over?
Is there anything that I would do differently?
Differently when this season is over?
My level of trust will change, and because there's a lot of conspiracy going on. I'll say that much. A lot of it.
Do you think
all around me?
Is the conspiracy connected to the celebrity, or to the trial, or to the catalog? What do you think the source of it is?
I can't comment, Jesse. I don't want to, because I'm under gag order, and it's a very, very serious thing. I don't want to say the wrong thing with the wrong flavor.
Well,
it's a very delicate area. There's a very delicate where we are now.
Good. Let me ask you this question, though, that for those who are praying fervently and who in some way want to help and look forward to Michael Jackson again, what can people expect next from you?
So, yeah, before we go into that, I forget when specifically it was, but I remember LaToya talking about how, I know, was it vice versa? Michael telling his folk that someone's out to kill him, like someone's out to get him, like he doesn't feel safe. Now I don't know when specifically that was, what time period that was, but he had a feeling, he knew, he had a premonition that people were out for his money. I mean, LaToya had a husband or a boyfriend that literally held her hostage in their situation so that they can try to exploit Michael's fame and money, and it just like it's so, it sounds crazy, but man, when it comes to money, people will do whatever, man. When it comes to fame, people will do whatever, man. It's scary. It really is scary, but it's true. Like, people will do whatever it takes to get an ounce of power, of money, of fame. Like, it's crazy. But the fact that Michael's like, I got a gag order. I can't really talk about it. But yeah, we know there's a lot of forces from the media to the record labels, from Sony, a lot of people out to get him. A lot. You know, it's very sad. And the biggest takeaway that I think I wish Michael would have learned way earlier. And it's so crazy because he talked about this in the memoirs that he would do for his Moonwalk book, how I think this was like 86, I want to say like 86, 87. Talk about trusting the wrong people and how he's not going to be someone that's going to be, gotten right. He talked about all of this. He's not going to be someone that's going to be gotten and someone that's going to, exploit it. He talked about all that, and it still happened because Michael, biggest fault I think is he is gullible at times and believes the best. He sees the best in people, and a lot of people did not have their best interests, Michael's best interests at heart, and it all came crashing down by the late 80s, early 90s, and even moving on to the late 90s, early 2000s, like inviting certain families into his home, and when he could have easily just, did a photo op or went out to dinner with them and moved on about his life, but he invited these people into his life, and then push comes to shove. Now you got, fathers trying to exploit the situation and all these different things. It's just so sad that it just so happened. I'm having a hard time believing that his limo broke down, and then it just so happened that this guy who has a car service, whatever, he met him, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, it's just so weird to me. But I really wish Michael wasn't as trusting as he was during the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Not to victim blame him, but man, he allowed the wrong people in his inner circle, man. I really feel bad about that.
Well, like I always say, I'm a person of the arts. I love the arts very, very, very much. And I'm a musician. I'm a director. I'm a writer, I'm a composer, I'm a producer, and I love the medium. I love film very, very much. I think it's the most expressive of all the art mediums. The sculptor can sculpt, the painter can paint, but they capture a moment. They freeze time with the moment. And film, you live the moment. You have the audience for 2 hours. You can have their brain, their mind, and you can take them any place you want to take them. You know, and that idea is mesmerizing to me, that you can have the power to do that, to move people, to change their lives. And that's where you marry the music and the visual together. And that's what excites me so much about film and the future, because I love motion picture very, very much.
Given the heat that's on you and
I wonder why he did not, because he was supposed to do film going all the way back to the early 90s. I'm still wondering why he didn't do like more like children audiobooks in general. I know he did some plays that wasn't announced, but he did help create some plays and things of nature. But like, I'm shocked he didn't try to do more film instead of just giving up on music after the tour and doing more film and doing Willy Wonka, doing Peter Pan, doing different things. Like, I'm actually shocked he did not go that route, especially after like History Tour. Like, I'm actually shocked he didn't just give up on music altogether and just start doing film. Like, I'm actually shocked about that.
that you are facing now, does it deter you from pursuing your career when this is over?
No, not at all, because I know who I am inside and outside, and I know what I want to do, and I will always, go with my dreams and my ideals in life. And I'm a very courageous person, and I believe in perseverance and determination and all those wonderful things. And those ideals are very, very important for a person who's goal-oriented, you know?
Since people have risen so high and so far with your dreams, what are you dreaming up now?
Like I was saying before, is to innovate and to pioneer the medium of film. And there's other things I want to do, which are some surprises, things in society that I want to do in the future. You know, in Africa, I have some great plans that I've been preparing to do there. I've had several meetings with people who's flown out to see me since I've been going through what I'm going through. And so my heart is set on doing some things there, very much so as well.
Your next project, because often people on a stage like this, they're just kind of frozen. But you were thinking about next project. What do you see as like the next immediate project? What's hitting you right now?
Probably a tsunami song that we want to do to raise money for tsunami, because Africa, I think it was it Madagascar? One of those countries.
Indeed, Madagascar.
Somalia and Madagascar was hit very hard, and they never talk about that the way they talk about the other countries. Now we have, my heart is going out for everybody, but at least when they distribute the truth, distribute it right, and they never talk about what the devastation down in Africa. So I want to do something for that. And of course, I've been working on planning a resort that I'm building down in Africa. A beautiful hotel and just a beautiful setting for people and families, and something beautiful down there. But they have a lot of beautiful places down there. But I want to do something that's more international, you know?
Well, you know what's interesting about the tsunami with this huge natural disaster? It couldn't be stopped. Maybe if we had early detection devices, we could have saved some lives, perhaps. But it was a natural disaster. What you've raised is that while we've lost 200,000 in the tsunami, we've lost 2 million in the Sudan. And that's a man-made disaster, and oil and materials all caught up in that stuff, and then 4 million in the Congo. And I think that as we talk about it, and you and I talk almost every day, you're reaching out to these African crisis appears to have taken up a large part of your dreams at this stage of your life.
Yes, it has, because, Jesse, in my heart, in my deepest of heart, I really love Africa. And I love the people of Africa, and that's why whenever I get the chance, my children and I, we jump on the plane and we fly to Africa and we vacation there. I spent more of my vacations in Africa than any other country. And we love the people, and we love the environment. Topographically, it's one of the most beautiful places on the surface of the earth. They never show the sandy white sugar beaches, and it's there. They never show the beautiful, the landscaping. They never show the buildings, the metropolis of Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Kenya, the Ivory Coast. Rwanda. They never show how beautiful the place is. And it's really stunningly beautiful. And I want to heighten that awareness with what I'm doing. And that's been my dream for many, many years. And everybody around me know that because I go there very much.
And that's all intentional by the mass, at least from where I am, the American media. The only time you saw anything about Africa is during infomercials about, the Census Day and all that stuff, which is important, but they never talked about how beautiful Africa is in the different places that doesn't look like a ghost town or look whatever they're trying to portray it as poor. Like it's intentional. It's always go back to racism, and always goes back to that, right? They didn't want other people to know, white folk, black folk, want to know how enriched Africa also is, along with having some struggling neighborhoods. It also had enriched neighborhoods, but they didn't want to show that. They don't want to show. They don't want to show that. But it always goes back to racism, man. It always goes back to elitism. It always goes back to that stuff, man.
We know about the high points of Rome because we see it on film.
That's right.
We know about the high points of Britain and the palace. We see it on film or on Paris. We don't see much of Africa on film. We see Africa as misery and Africa as problems. We do not see it as being this phenomenally endowed continent of sand and sea and oil and resources.
Yeah. The world is jealous of Africa for many centuries because the natural resources are phenomenal. It really is. And it is the dawn of civilization. Our history, a lot of our Bible history is right there in Africa. And King Tut, all those great civilizations, that is right there in Africa. Egypt is in Africa. And they always try to separate the two, but Egypt is Africa.
Well, it certainly is true that when Jesus was threatened with death, when Herod sent out the edict for genocide for all the firstborn babies, that Joseph took him to Egypt, to Africa, and kept him there for 12 years.
That's right. That's right.
You've shown an amazing level of depth and commitment. Let me say this in closing, Michael, because people are listening, and the reason I didn't open up the lines today because you're sharing stuff with us we never quite really hear. But as people go and watch the trial next week and the coming days, what do you want your fans? We have calls on here right now from London and Holland and all around America. So people are listening today to you. What do you want to say to your fans and supporters, even to your detractors today?
I just want to say, fans in every corner of the earth, every nationality, every race, every language, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your love and support and understanding during this trying time. I would love your prayers and your goodwill. Please be patient and be with me and believe in me because I am completely innocent. But please know a lot of conspiracy is going on as we speak.
Well, it's Easter time. We fall down, we get back up again. The good news is that nothing is too hard for God. And those who believe, fervently believe, no matter how far down, that they reach for a rope and not a shovel, they'll be pulled up and they will rise again. Michael, thank you for sharing yourself with the nation today and the world and for getting up so early in California.
God bless you.
God bless you and keep up alive. Talk to you in a minute off there, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right.
I didn't even know this interview existed. Like, I just so happened, I don't even know how this found my algorithm. I think it was because I was doing stuff on Save the Children that I found this in my algorithm. I didn't know this interview existed. March 27, 2005, Jesse Jackson interviews Michael during literally in the middle of his trial, bro. God, like if you want to talk about perfect timing, like there was a perfect time, because Michael needed someone like a Jesse. Like people have their opinions on Jesse and certain activists and all that different stuff, which I'm not running away from, but this is not really the time to talk about it. But I will say, Jesse definitely is one of God's soldiers, one of his children. And I do think really tried his best to bring people together, to unite people, to bring hope, and try to create change, not only for black folk, but for people all over the world. So I love that he got this opportunity, again, smack dab in the middle of Michael's trial, which it was looking very dicey because Michael is still a black man in America, and I have no trust in any institution, especially the criminal justice system, that it definitely could have went another way, but thankfully it didn't. But it's definitely a dope interview. We did get to kind of the state of where he was near the end of the interview, but I'm glad that he got to at least get to his start, talk about, you know, his heights, his lows, stuff that we never. Hey, Kat Sarah's in here. All right, one of my supporters on here on my channel. So glad he got to do this interview, where other interviews would have been so exploitative and talk about the trial and the children. I love that Jesse handled it with grace. Still try to talk about, not really about the trial, but like his feelings and thoughts about what he felt during this time. Just trying to get his headspace of what was going on. But yeah, I never would have thought Jesse Jackson would have interviewed Michael. I don't know why. I would have never thought that. So it's so all right. You're gonna have people like this, right? It is what it is. But yeah, I love that he got this opportunity to speak freely in a comforting environment and place. Yeah, that was definitely dope. So we at least got to hear him speak freely about what was going on during that time. So it's crazy because, again, I didn't know. I don't know why I thought it didn't start till like late April the trial started, but I don't know how that works. So I could be a little off. But definitely great interview, great subject matter, and thankfully he did get acquitted, and he definitely was found innocent. So that's the most important part. I just wish he didn't have to go through it, but it is what it is. It just, such is life. It's going to happen. But let me know your thoughts. What you think. Again, great interview. Hidden gem. Did not know this existed. Definitely dope. So definitely rest in power to both MJ and to Jesse Jackson. Both of them pillars in the community, pillars in the world. So definitely dope to hear them two conversate and converse and just talking about what's going on. So that's definitely dope on Easter Sunday. That's crazy. On Easter Sunday. That's wild, bro. That's definitely dope. But like, comment, subscribe, share all the things. If you have off the wall, if you have any interviews, hidden gems you want to give me about Michael, definitely comment below. Let me know. Again, I have no idea. How did I find this? I did not know this existed. Shout out to the algorithm. You hear me? I don't like the algorithm because the algorithm sucks. But definitely shout out to the algorithm because I don't know how this popped up on here. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share all the things. Ain't got to go home. You got to get to stepping. Peace.